Hey guys, so I'm really excited to do today's video because it is a tutorial and I actually like doing these. I like doing my makeup, obviously. If you're here, you're watching these videos and you're tuning into the beauty community, you love makeup too. I got a few new things that I'm excited to try and share with you guys. Two things that are new I've already used off camera and I'm starting to kind of form some opinions on it, and one is going to be pretty much a first impressions of a new eyeshadow palette that recently was released at Ulta and online. So I'm really excited about today's video, and we're just gonna go ahead and jump right in because we've got lots to do and lots to talk about, right? So I'm going to start by priming my face. I've been using the Too Faced Hangover primer just because my skin is kind of dry and kind of flaking a bit. 'Tis the season for dry skin, red skin. It's just a hot mess right now. So I'm going to take a little bit of this, and I just usually apply it with my fingers. And I blend this in. Trying this new thing out. Now this is kind of crazy, but hear me out. I've been using the Too Faced Born This Way, the multi-use sculpting concealer. I picked this up recently. I wear the shade Vanilla, and I also wear the same color in the Born This Way foundation. So if you have the foundation and you want to try the concealer, it's the exact same shade unless you want to go a little bit lighter to have more brightened look to the under eye. You can also do the really dark ones for bronzing and contouring, which I saw someone on Instagram do a video, and they only use this on their face, a bunch of different shades, light ones, skin tone ones, darker ones. And so I thought I could actually probably get through using this entire bottle quicker than I would if I had a foundation bottle, because a foundation I rarely even get through ever if I do a full-size bottle of foundation, just because I have quite a few. We try so many things, and I compared ingredients and it's almost the same from this to the foundation. So I thought, let's do a little bit of an experiment. And so I've been using this as my concealer and also as my foundation on my face. And then with my finger, I'll just kind of dot this on, and I'm having some issues with some breakouts on my forehead. And so this actually covers up. I had a nasty one here not that long ago, and it actually covers quite well. Using my Morphe sponge has been kind of dampened. This is going to be kind of hard because my thumb is actually quite painful. I cut myself cleaning or washing my knives literally a couple hours ago, and it hurts so bad. I got myself real good. The thing with this I've noticed is that if you don't work quickly, it does set fast. Oh, this is so strange. Oh, it's strange to, if you try this like without using your thumb and realize how much of a necessity your thumb actually really is when you have like a cut or when you can't use your thumb, you start to realize real quickly how important that finger is. So I'm going to just kind of dot this right under my eyes, and then I'm going to use the pointed side of my sponge to blend it in. Now for my concealer. For the eyeshadow that I'm using today, I don't know if there's going to be any fallout, so I probably should have maybe waited to do this last, but it's okay. Now I got this new kind of all-in-one face palette. I shared this on Snapchat, so if you follow me there, you have already seen this. But it is the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look in a palette. It is quite disgusting because I've been using it. This was one of her, I guess, sale items the week of Thanksgiving. And so I'm holding it upside down, but it's got some eyeshadows that are numbered. Everything has a number 1 through 7. So you have eyeshadows, you have the bronzer from the Film Star Bronze and Glow. This here is a gold highlighter from her like gold bar highlighting palette. That's the gold one. It comes in like 3 different shades in that palette, but in here you get gold. And then you get the blushes. I think I forget what they're called. They're like the Swish and Pop. Okay, Swish and Pop, that's what it says here. Swish and Pop colors. And this one here, number 6 for the blush, it is if I can get the camera focus, it is matte, the blush. The bronzer has a bit of a sheen to it. Number 2 and 3 for eyeshadow is matte. Everything else has a bit of shimmer. My EcoTools Define brush, which looks like this, is quite small, and I feel like it fits nicely in this pan here. And I'm going to take some of that bronzer, and there is a bit of a sheen that I can see on my skin, but it's not overly shimmery like a disco ball, so I'm okay with it. So I just take this, kind of suck in my cheeks. And if you watched her videos on her YouTube channel, Charlotte Tilbury would say follow the hollow. If you want to do some light contouring. And then I just like to kind of swirl it and blend it up to the apples of my cheek. Just because that's how I like to apply my bronzer. But although that's quite light, I feel like for my skin tone, I feel like it's doable. If you were a couple shades darker, maybe medium tan, you may not even see this. Definitely if you have like that richer, deeper complexion. I'm not quite sure if you would actually even see this on the face, which would suck if you spent the $75 for it. But she does have that bronzer in a couple different shades, I think. Actual cheek one. So I'm going to go with number 6, mostly because that's the blush that's matte. Number 5 is the swoosh, which I think is supposed to go on the apples of the cheek, according to Charlotte. And I do like the way this looks. I mean, it's more of a sheen on my face than what I'm normally accustomed to and what I would go for, because I usually go for all mattes. But this is quite nice. I'm going to take that number 5, the swoosh, which is here. And this has a bit of a sheen to it, but it's quite light, the sheen, so it's not too much. If you are oily and you think, look, I got a hair. If you are oily and you feel like, I don't know if I want to put something shimmery right there in the apples of my cheek, close to where you may have some oil, it's not that shimmery. So I feel like it just adds the softest kind of glow, almost like if it's your skin that's naturally radiating that kind of health and glow and vitality, which I like, and I can appreciate that because I normally would never put shimmer on the apples of my cheek. But this is actually quite nice. And you can see a bit of a sheen. If you were to get all up in my face, you can see a bit of a sheen, but it's not so bad where I'm like, the minute I start to produce oil, it's going to look crazy and kind of weird when you have oily skin and lots of shimmer on your face. Number 7, Face Glow. It is quite golden, if you can see. Where am I? Here. And I would have preferred something a little lighter, but it's okay. We'll just make it work. I'm going to use my Morphe E8. I was going to say E4. E8. And lightly dust this on. You can't really see it. It's kind of hard to pick it up in the light inside, but when I go outside, it is quite nice. And it gives you a really pretty glow. I mean, it gives you that kind of Charlotte Tilbury kind of glow that she's kind of known for. Anyway, she did the makeup for the Victoria's Secret runway show. I got the Fenty Beauty by Rihanna, the Pro Filter Amplifying Eye Primer. I bought this during the VIB sale. I went there and I bought a bunch of gifts, which was kind of nice that I actually bought gifts instead of buying a bunch of things that I wanted to try that I didn't really need. I mean, I may come back to those things eventually, but for right now, I just went and took advantage of the sale for gifts for friends and family. So this is what the primer looks like. The packaging is pretty similar to, I think her face primer looks like this as well. I like the packaging and I would like to try more from this brand as well. It's got a pretty big doe foot applicator, and I guess I'm just going to go in. It's in the shade Invisa Pink. So I'm not quite sure if this is supposed to leave a tint or not. And I'm going to work one eye at a time. And it is a little tacky. I'm not quite sure if I should just leave it that way and put eyeshadow over it. I'm kind of scared to do that because I'm not quite sure if my eyeshadow is going to cling and then become a pain. Set this bad boy in place and hope for the best. But that's what this video is about. It's using a bunch of things that are new and sharing my thoughts along the way. Alright, so we are going to get into the eyeshadows. Dun, 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 dun. I'm using the Morphe X James Charles. I saw this at Ulta and I thought this would be kind of interesting, and I'm going to admit I don't know too much about James Charles. I just know that he is a YouTuber with, I would assume, millions of subscribers. Otherwise, he wouldn't be collabing with a brand, right? I, since purchasing this, saw the video of him announcing the colors and swatching it. They look really pretty. But when I saw this in the store, it was a display as soon as you walked into Ulta. This was before Thanksgiving. I can't remember the day. I saw it and I thought, you know, that actually looks really pretty. The way it's all laid out, the bright colors automatically just draw you in. And it happens to me every single time, but then I do the same looks all the time. Very neutral, very basic, very, you know, super easy, not a big deal kind of look. But I wanted to have a palette that gave me those options as well to do everyday looks, but also include some pops of color, so that if I wanted to venture out of the lines and try something different or something fun or just a, you know, a little bit of a twist just to feel sassy for the day, it's all laid out there. Because if I look at all of my other palettes, if I'm doing a neutral palette or a neutral look with, you know, a simple eyeshadow look and I wanted like a bright pink or maybe a bright blue for whatever reason, it's not there. So that means I have to go sifting through my makeup collection to find it. It's more work than I want to actually do. That's what I'm going to admit to, that it's more work than I want to do. Matte and kind of glossy print. Very, very cool. And then here's what the palette looks like. Nothing new. I'm sure you've seen this plenty in videos circulating through the land of YouTube. But I actually think this is really cool. It's like a soft color, and I'm going to go in with the shade called Canvas, which is a matte. I should have used this to set my primer, but it is a matte. It's the first shade in the palette, and it's just to kind of ensure that everything is set really well before I go in with anything else. Okay, so I'm going to take that same brush, and I'm going with the color Punch Me, which is a light tan shade. And this is going to go into the crease. And I'm not being too careful with it. I just want to put on a base, kind of like a layer into my crease before I go in with anything on my lids, because I think I want to go in with something a little bit different on my lids. And this, for me, it helps me stay below the crease when I'm doing something dark and smoky and shimmery. And then I think I'm going to go back in with that Canvas shade, the first one, and go around the edges. Make sure I didn't go up too high. So I'm going to take Cape Cod on a small eyeshadow brush so I can have more precise work. And then I'm going to add this to my lids. And then I'm going to switch to a more precise kind of pencil brush and start blending the edges of that into the Punch Me color that's in the crease, so that there isn't a gap between those two shades. And then I'm going to apply in the inner corner this one called Hello, which is an icy kind of like aqua color. And I'm going to use a Real Techniques accent brush. Ooh, that's pretty. Alright, so I have both eyes done where they're kind of at the same place, because I know it looks kind of weird having one eye done, one not. I've got eyeshadow everywhere, all over my arms. This stuff is no joke. These colors are very pigmented, and so far they seem quite, I guess, easy to blend for the most part. I have gone back and forth you know, around the edges of this blue color because I didn't want to come up too high with it and get that sheen and shimmer on the lid, or in the crease, I should say. I probably should have just done my concealer last because I wasn't quite sure how these eyeshadows are gonna work. I may have to go back and touch up my concealer after we're done. Alright, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and use that same accent brush, and I'm gonna take that Cape Cod under the eye. And it is better when you use your finger, especially for the inner corner. I don't know, I just think that it's better that way. I think you get more pigment using your finger. So I'm going to take Cape Cod and go on this outer part of the eye. And then I'm going to wipe off that brush really well, and I'm going to go back in with the Hello shade that I use in the inner corner. I'm going to go ahead and bring that down a little bit lower as well. I think I'm going to go in with this dark shade called Benny, which is the really dark one. It's almost kind of like an espresso color. Alright, so I've used a Q-tip to clean up underneath my eye before going in. I even have it all over my sponge. Before going in with a little bit of concealer, I'm going to clean up under the eyes with the same one that I used earlier. And I still need to do my eyeliner and mascara. I'm going to show you that because this is going to take me a little bit to actually do. But I'm going to do my liner with the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner in Trooper, which is just a black liquid liner. And then I'm going to use my go-to mascara, which is the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. And then I'll show you what the eyes look like after some cleanup and some tight lining with some black eyeliner. Alright, so the eyes are done. I went ahead and just did a very thin line of liquid liner, just like I usually do. Lots of mascara. This look would really be pretty as well with some false eyelashes. I was going to do some little wispy, the little tiny ones that I usually use from Kiss, and I realized I don't have any lash glue. So note to self, when I go to the store, I need to pick some of that up. And then for the lips, I just applied a very thin layer of the Jeffree Star Velour liquid lipstick in the shade Celebrity Skin. I got this when I went to Vegas and I shopped at the Morphe store there. And they had a ton of colors to choose from. So if you like liquid lipsticks, this brand, the formula is quite nice and one of the more comfortable ones that I've tried, honestly. And they have lots of colors to choose from. This is just a nice kind of nude, but there's some depth to it. It's not like a skin tone or concealer type of nude where it completely wipes out the color of your lips. I do feel like it adds something, and with this look, or at least these kind of tones, I feel like I could pull off a bit of a deeper nude with these blues and greens. And overall, I like the way the look came out. I would say that if you're trying this palette for the first time, the James Charles palette, I would say maybe do your eyes first, then apply your concealer and foundation, just because some of the shades, the ones that I used today, there was some fallout. Not so much the matte ones, but the shimmer ones, I had some and I had to go clean up with a Q-tip, come in and reapply some more concealer. I do feel like with more practice, I could make a lot of use of these. And I feel like with this palette, I mean, the first look that I did was something that I haven't done in a long time, which is use bright aquas and like a bluish kind of green color. It's quite different. Did a little bit of smokiness on the outer corner just to add a little bit of depth and ground the look a bit, but I kept it where it was still in my comfort zone and not so much out there where I would feel kind of ridiculous going out of my house. If I had to leave the house right now to go run some errands or go out to eat, I'd be perfectly happy and okay with that and feel comfortable in my own skin, which is why I am going to be doing looks with this palette in a way that is more comfortable to me. So if you want to see more looks and kind of see where this adventure takes me and see if I can get out of my comfort zone a little bit within reason, then let me know in the comment section what colors you'd like me to use, or if you just want to see more from me as far as this palette. And I do appreciate you guys so much for tuning in for today's video. I know it was quite a long one, but I did want to give you some first impressions and some kind of thoughts along the way of using some of these newer things. So everything will be listed in the description box, so expand that if you're interested in knowing what I used or have a list of everything. You can screenshot it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you get notified when I post a new video and new content on the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys had a great holiday. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. It's always somewhere popping up on the screen, my Twitter handle and my Snapchat stuff. So if you want to tune in, you can check it out. I'll see you there. Take care, you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.